Hello and welcome to April's Tag Roulette. So this is my piece from last month. I'm quite liking it, liking the colours. So we've got our ruffling, I've got my little flaggy tag thing and a bit of paper piecing, which is just really nice. So let's generate this month's numbers. Right, I've got that ready. So generate, we haven't used it yet, 31. That's 31. Generate, 35. These are a bit close together. 35. Oh, we've had 52. 10. Ooh, that's exciting. Right then, because obviously I can't remember these off by heart. Let's have a look. Where are we? So first lot here, I've got number 10, which was, oh yay, it's a Suffolk puff. Awesomeness. Right, it's 14s, 27, here we go. 31, oh god, bling, or a bit of gold. I hated that one. And 35 was 3 buttons. Oh, nice. Oh, awesomeness. Right, so there's our ones for this month. That's exciting. Move that out of the way. So I shall toddle off, grab some bits, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, right, so I've been and collected and gathered my bits and pieces. I'm quite lucky because I'd already got my fabric from last month. Got some buttons. I thought I'd probably cheat a little bit and do a bit of a blingy button because it sort of matches in actually with my colourway. And then I've cut a circle out ready to do a Suffolk puff, and then I've got a few beads and stuff that's got a bit more bling in there. I'm not sure how much bling I'm going to put on, but obviously we can do as much or as little as we want. So I've demonstrated this loads, but do it again, Suffolk puff. So this is where you have a circular piece of fabric and you can do raw edge or neat edge. I tend to do neat edges. So you basically finger fold your edge in, got a thread. It can be anything, machine thread, perlé thread, a few strands of stranded cotton, and all you're going to do is a running stitch. So as you're going round, you just keep finger folding that edge in. Try to keep it as even as you can. Feels a while since I did some work on this. It's quite nice to be adding to it again. So I'm liking seeing what everybody's been doing. Just love how there's a lot more freedom with this, whether you've done the tags or not. Doesn't really matter. If you have done them, obviously you've got your own tags to refer to, but if you haven't done them, obviously you can go to that week's tag. So if you look for that tag number, there'll be that month's video, not month, that week's video, which it'll just be great, so you can just go and have another look at it. And again, you can put your own interpretation and spin on this. And you can keep going back to things as well, but we've still obviously got a load more tags to do. So we'll have done 36 prompts, I think, by the end of the year. It might be every so often I throw in an extra one. Ooh, a bit random. So these are really nice. The basic principle with your Suffolk puff is whatever diameter you do your circle, your Suffolk puffs ends up being half the size, basically, half the diameter. So it'll depend on the size of your piece that you're working on as to how big you want to do these. I enjoyed doing the paper piecing. I love paper piecing. It's something I've never really done before. It's one of those techniques that I don't think I could ever do, like a big quilt or something like that. I think people that do that have got the patience of a saint. Right, okay, so we've got our little shower cap, and all you do then is just hold that there and just give it a pull, and it just pulls it all in. just squash that bit down and just use your thumb and finger just to pull the fabric out. So you can make a selection of these. You can make as many as you want. They're quite nice either just on their own or as little clusters. So once you've decided that it's okay, just pop yourself a little stitch in just to stop it from coming undone. So a little loop, little knot, and then these are ready then to start stitching in. So then this is when you start playing around with where things are going to go. So I've got my 3 buttons. So I'd wondered, I've got a bit of a gap up there. It just fits in quite nicely. Just down the side there. That's quite nice. That might be my blingy bit that I end up doing. And then, because I've not really got anything down here, I think I'll probably do a little cluster of Suffolk puffs, so it's sort of bringing my piece out a little bit, because it is a little bit over there. So what you can do to attach this down is just bring your thread out the back, and then wherever you've decided, oops, you want your little puff, all you need to do is just stitch it down, and just every so often you just come up through your Suffolk puff and down through the back of your fabric and just work your way around. Oops, there we go. Just tacking this on. Oh, sorry, disappeared off the screen. So just tiny little stitches, just Suffolk puff fabric about every centimetre or so as you're going around. And like I say, you could add as many. I'll probably make some more of these and stitch them on. So, all the way around. Quite nice to do it with slightly finer fabrics. You can do it with really chunky fabrics if you want, just a bit fiddly, and sometimes with chunkier fabrics, if it's a more of an open weave, you can end up with it fraying a little bit, but sometimes that can be the effect that you want. You can do the raw edge Suffolk puffs where you don't fold it under and you are left with an edge, and you could fluff that up. So you could do whatever you like. I always seem to stitch them on this way around, but you can stitch them on the other way around as well. I had a Suffolk puff somewhere. There we go. I know this one doesn't match, but you can have them that way around, or you can have them the other way around. If you want, you can stuff them. Quite nice sometimes to have a couple that are that way around. So you might, I don't know, you could overlap bits. There's all sorts that you could do. So that's the Suffolk puff. So next I'm going to put my buttons on. So I'm going to use a double thread for this, just so that it's going to stitch it on just a little bit firmer. So come in. So again, think about how you're stitching things on. You could stitch them on traditionally, so you could stitch in the middle of your button, but your threads could go outside your buttons. You could do across, you could do straights. Again, it's totally up to you. Or if mine is, as it's plain at the moment, doesn't want to go through at all. So I'm using a double thread just because it makes it that little bit firmer. Just feels a little bit more secure on what you're doing. So I'll do that one as a cross. There we go. Right, so what I'm going to do is, once I've put one button on, because I know I'm going to go straight on and do the next one, I'm just going to pop a little knot at the back, just so that it secures these ones on. I tend to do stuff like this because I just think if one of them falls off, that could be a right pain. Okay, right, I'm going to go with my next one. So with this I'm sort of cheating a little bit, and I'm going a bit blingy, mainly because it was what I discovered in my little button tray that I'd got. Oh, a bit trickier to stitch these ones because you can't quite see where the holes are. So because I'm going from one to another and I've left a bit of a distance, I just need to check that tension. There we go. Okay. So again, I'll do this 2 or 3 times. So I've definitely got it stitched on. Go. Quite nice sometimes. These are buttons that I wouldn't normally use in things, but they're just really nice. So to use stuff like this up in a project, getting loads of thread caught up here, is just quite nice. Oh, snap my thread. Oh, that's well annoying. Right, okay, so if I snap my thread, here we go, handy hints. I just trim it off to where it's still double. Where are we? Oh, we're not still double, it's actually come off. Oh, bum tiddly pum. Okay. It's been a bit too heavy handed, I think. Right, so we redouble up my thread. It's probably because it's a metal button, so it's got quite a sharp edge on it. Right. Come back through. Back through. So I know that I've definitely got that attached. And then what I'll do is the thread on the back here that I've got floating around, I'll tie my knot on with this. So mistakes happen, don't worry about it, it's one of them things. You obviously all will keep a secret and not tell everybody that it went slightly wrong. Okay, right. Now, got a nice shiny toggle. I always find toggles really hard to stitch on. Mainly because you can't see the back. And they're just a bit faffy. Right, so make a stitch. Right, let's pull that so it's just got a bit of tension. Pop it through the back. There we go. Make a stitch. Make a stitch. Obviously it's very important that you talk to yourself while you're doing this. Make a stitch. There we go. Right. Looks like it's stitched on. Right, take that through to the back. So that's my 3 buttons. So I've got Suffolk puff and 3 buttons. Now it's the bit that I was really hoping that this tag did not come up on the tag roulette, but it has done. I did not like the gold one. I ended up doing it because when I'd been clearing out some stuff at school, I must have taken a load of stuff that I'd done when I did gold work into school for a student to use, and I found the tin of bits and pieces, so I brought it home. I thought, oh, let's do a blingy tag. That was a mistake, but anyway, you can obviously take this however you want to take it with bling. I mean, when we did it on the tags it was gold, but I suppose it depends on your colourway as to what you would like to do. So I have got, because I think gold fits in with mine, I've got some little gold safety pins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are really cute to stitch into a piece of work. So you can have a look. I might have them coming down here. So it's putting your own twist on this idea of what bling is. So if I'm going to come over an edge here, just to have it so it looks like this is holding it all together. kind of cheating, but I'm not. Mainly because I think I'm not really a blingy person, but I have got some other bits and pieces that I might start stitching in and amongst. So I've got some tiny beads that I think might be quite nice to pop in and amongst my couching. So I'm just pinning this through, but then I will do a little bit of stitching just to hold them in place, because otherwise they end up moving. So you could stitch on anything, and I think that's one of the things as well, is the fact that stitching doesn't have to be things that you would buy in a haberdashery or things that have to be to do with embroidery. It can be anything at all, anything that you can pop a needle through and you can stitch. Oh, they look quite cute, just all at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is, I've got my needle threaded, there we go, so I've just got a bit of that yellow thread, and all I'm going to do to stop them from moving is just do tiny little stab stitches just in each one. Just to keep them flat. So if you are really into bling, feel free to go to town, throw everything at it in the kitchen sink. If you're struggling for bits, sometimes you get the nicest little bits and pieces if you go to your local charity shop and have a look at what jewellery there is. That works quite nicely. Right, I'm just going to do a little one to the opposite corners just to keep this flat so the ends stop coming up. Keeps everything in place nice and orderly. So you could put down sequins, could be bugle beads, seed beads, jewellery findings, anything magpie-y. It doesn't have to be gold, it just has to be blingy. So something shiny. There we go. Right then, so beadwork, I'm going to pop some beads because I just think maybe just in and amongst, or maybe even just some little bits and maybe in amongst there. So I have got some tiny seed beads, and I've also got a few sequins. Put those there. Okay, right, so I've got a beading needle. It's not very straight. I can never keep beading needles straight. You try and straighten them up when you're busy doing something and then they just go wonky again. Anyway, and then I've got some beading yarn. It's just get it on a little roll. I've got some white somewhere, I don't know what I've done with it. It's really nice to use with the beading needles because it's a flat thread. It's especially for beading. So let's have a look. Where shall we start? Maybe starting in amongst here. So if you're wanting to put sequins down, traditional way of popping a sequin down is to pop your sequin on your needle. Let that go down to the bottom. There we go. Pick up a little bead. That's on the thread, but what you do then is you go back down the hole. So I've got my bead on my thread, pop your needle back down through the hole, and then when you pull it down, your bead traps the sequin on. So I might just do a couple of little areas with some bits and pieces on. You can play around again with how you attach your bits of bling. Let's put that on there. Let's grab a little bead. So these are just putting singular ones on. Just want to pick it up, get a different one. There we go. Put that on my needle, back down through my sequin, pull it through, and then that little bead, she says, pull it through. There we go. The little bead then will trap it. Let's do another one. So I've got two different types of sequins as well. I've got the little ones that are the little cups, and then I have others that are flat. So using a mixture, they're okay. If you don't have anything like this, if you've got like some silver foils or something like that, you could use a hole punch or some sort of letter punch or a punch to punch out some bits and pieces. So then you could just come back in and then just start popping in some single beads just in and amongst. If you've got ones of different sizes, that can be quite nice too. So it's like little clusters, works nicely, little clusters all together. Oops. So I'll probably carry on popping a few more of these in. Got those ones and I've got some others. Are they the same? No, they're a little bit shinier. I need to get some. I've got a few off. Just trim that. So they're stringed ones, they come on a little string. So other things then that you can do, you can make little loops of beads. So if you put say 3 or 4 on your needle, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 on there. So if you go back down, if you go flat with your stitching, you'll get them lying flat, but if you go like a little bit nearer, you end up creating. Is that going to focus? Come on. See that little loop there of beads? So you've got like a little loop that just stands off the surface. So that can be quite nice to do as well, especially if you do maybe a few in a few different directions. So again, I'll just get on maybe 1, 2, 3. You can put sequins on there, so I could do 4 little beads, pop a sequin on, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's sort of like making a little bit, oh, I need to have been drawing on my hand, little bead kebab that's on there. And then if I go back down, pull that through, sort of creating some little, it's not focusing for some reason, there we go, some little loopy bits. So you can do loopies. Now again, what I would do is when I've done a few, I'd just do an anchoring stitch on the back, so a couple of little stitches and then do a knot, because again when we get a bit later on and we're doing lots and lots of stitching, what you don't want is to catch one of these and then everything to fly off. So I can just carry on building up just a little area of Bling. I'm back in with my sequin. So I might just do a little bit there, maybe a bit up at the top, I don't know. Depends on how much time I decide I want to spend on this. I think that's the beauty with this one, because we're not doing it every week, it's just once a month. You can spend as much or as little time on this as you wish. Quite liking the sequins, which I'm surprised at because I don't normally do sequins. I think they're quite nice. It's quite nice actually having a bit of sparkle, so it's probably not a bad idea. And then come back in with maybe just a few single ones, just on their own. Quite nice to have them near the seed stitch because it's like another little stitch, it just adds a little bit something else. So that's this month then. Fairly straightforward, and you could spend as much or as little time as you want on this one. So we have got a bit of bling, could be gold or it could be something shiny, 3 buttons and some Suffolk puffs. So that's April. Can't wait to see what everybody's doing. Remember to share it on Instagram, Facebook, so we can all see what everybody's been doing, because I know everybody will deal with this slightly differently. And I will see you in May. Happy stitching!